this computer, and then I can post it later. Once again, if I'm going too fast, I will post the recording on YouTube, and you will be able to slow it down a little bit. I'll try to keep it within reasonable bounds. I will also have the chat window open. So if you have questions, drop it in chat or raise your hand or something. I will use the participant list. So that will get us where we need to go. And share screen. So we'll share the desktop. Okay. All right. So we'll put that away. We'll put that away. We'll put, holy moly, that away. There we go. There's some stuff. Okay. I want to go to Photoshop first. All right. So let me, okay, I've got that up there. See what I can see. Oh, that could work. Participants. All right, I've got all the participants and chat. Okay, so I've got everything open so I can see if you have questions and things. Now, I'm going to take this back. This is, I need to get it more into my range so that I can see it. All right, there we go. So I have taken this back in history. So this is exactly what this image would look like when I open it. This is a very large image. If you wanted to see image size, we could go to image size, and you can see that it's 3,200 pixels by 2,400 pixels. So that means it's coming out of the camera. This is actually one that I have manipulated. I've composited two pictures together. Now, the key, I've got to get this all within my site. The key for taking it over to Illustrator, okay, is getting the picture to the right size. So what I could just do, let's do this one. We'll just do select all. Okay. Whoops. That's weird. Select all. There it is up at the top. Okay. I could do edit, copy. All right. So now that image in its full size is copied. I can go over to Illustrator. I'm going to create a new document. So I did Command N. I want it to be A3. And because that image is horizontal, I want it to be horizontal, which has the width at 420 millimeters and the height is 297 millimeters. I will now create it. I will now put it into view. So there it is in view. And you can see here that this is 2/3 of its actual size. I'll very simply do edit, paste. Okay, now first of all, that shows you that this picture is huge. It really is giant. So what I'm going to do, because if you remember, it's 420, okay? 420 by 297 is the size I need. So if I go to properties here, I keep transform centered. That means it will shrink to its center. And I'm going to go with the larger number. And this oversize is very good because that means it would print nicely. But if I put in 420 here, what? Okay, I didn't put 420 in there. Let me try it again. 420, it will remember millimeters. I can hit the return key and there it's 420. Okay, so since it's selected, I can drag it and it will match the top here. All right, and hopefully you can see, I know it's a little dark here, but there is extra space on the bottom because the size of a photograph does not exactly fit with the size of A3. So one thing I could do, and I'm trying to get you not to do it, is you could squeeze it. Okay, so we could grab this corner of the image, I could line it up here, and actually if I do that, I've flattened out the loop. Now, that's not going to be hugely obvious here, but let me just take it over the top so you can see it, and you can see then it becomes distorted. Okay, so usually somebody who's looked at a lot of photographs as I have and taken, I can tell when it doesn't seem right. So this is not the optimal way to do it. So the result, if it's vertically squashed, is that it gets flat. If I horizontally squash, okay, it gets kind of a bigger, and then the roof becomes more round. So neither one of those is photographically accurate. And so I am now, if I did some more Command Z's and we took a look. So, okay. So what I'm going to do is go back into Photoshop, and I'm going to show you exactly the way to get a hold of your picture and make it correct. Now I'm going to do it through cropping. And if you look up here in the top part of Photoshop, this is what's called the contextual menu. And it now is telling us right here that there's no ratio, okay? That it's free, that we can do whatever we want with that crop. We can move it all around, etc. Okay? But our desire is to make that crop fit. See, I can go back the whole range of things I did. Okay, we'll not take it. We want it to make it fit exactly for A3. So since this is horizontal, let me see if I do it right. If I put 1 into the first category, which is going to be X, and I put, this is actually going to be wrong. I put 0.41, okay, because that is the ratio for A3, okay, is 1.41 to 1, 1.41. So I will type that in down here. Okay, so that you can see that. So you put that in the numbers in the top. So I'm going to switch it, and I'm going to put in 1.41, and then I'm going to put in 1. And what you see is the cropping, and this stayed in the center, but the cropping is cutting a little bit off the top and a little bit off the bottom. And I look, and I'm still happy. As a matter of fact, this third line tells me this beautiful part of light is right there on the intersection of those thirds lines. And the roof line is very close to this bottom third. So that's actually a pretty nice composition. So I will take this cropping, so I can double click on it. I could Command Z. I could go back to crop. I could take it back to 1.41 to 1. I could take the tick mark for yes. I take the tick mark for yes. Then I do select all, edit, copy. Now I'll go back over to Illustrator, and I'll do edit, paste. Okay, it's still oversized, right? It's still very big because Illustrator is showing it to us in its full size, whereas Photoshop kind of shrinks it down for us. But So I'm going to now remember the width. Okay, wait. I'll type this in. Oops. Now I'm going to forget it. I'll put it in a minute. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to take it to 420. I'll hit return. Yeah, okay. So there's what I just did. Horizontal A3, vertical A3, whoops, gosh, is 297 millimeters by 420 millimeters. Okay, so I've got that in the chat for you. And so I would need to grab this. I'm gonna shrink this a little so we can get a full view and I can see all the tools and I can also see your names. Okay. See what I get. All right. So, okay. So then another thing I can do for view, okay, if I go to view and I say fit all, okay, fit artboard in window is what I want, or that is command 0, but I will fit artboard in window. It's now centered. And for the purposes of this demonstration, it's too close to the edges, so I find it a bit confusing. So I'll shrink it down a little bit. I take the black arrow, okay? There's a white arrow, but I'm gonna take the black arrow. I click on the image, and then, okay, then I fit it there, and it fits perfectly. So I know from coming over from Photoshop, that completely works. Now, as you could see, that picture was very big, so you don't necessarily have to take this as a horizontal picture. Let's go back to that picture, and we'll go back to Photoshop. And what I'm going to do is take this back to open, so now it's normal again. I am on crop tool. I'm now going to switch it the other way. I'm now going to switch to 1 by 1.41. And this one's sitting in the middle. That may or may not be right, but we can move the image around. Okay, that's not balanced that nicely. But I think if we go to about there, that's not a bad image. You get the rays of light coming down and you sort of get the sense of it. That can work. So I will do select all. I will do edit copy. And then I will go back over to Illustrator. And now I'm going to file, do new. I'm going to do A3, but I'm going to switch the orientation to vertical, so those two numbers are going to change. There's the switch. Width is now 297. Height is 420. I'm going to do create. So now I have a blank vertical. I do edit paste. All right. And now it's still oversized. So I can do it either way. And if I change the width up here at the top, I just change that to 297, hit enter, and there it is. It's actually nicely centered. So that, oops, not completely perfect. All right, but I could mess with that a little. Small changes won't matter. So that's the way you bring the photo over and you put it in. Now, I have done that with a number of images that we're going to be looking at, and I'm not going to mess with this one anymore, in fact, but hopefully that makes some sense for you. Okay, so I'm going to don't save, and I'm going to don't save. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to take you to the original. Actually, let's even let, I got a nice lever shot. Let's go back to Photoshop for a minute. And one of the pictures that I used in the demonstration was, in the tutorial, was this Qing tomb that I messed with. And while, as I looked at it, okay, I liked the photograph as the recording of something. But even with all these manipulations, kind of making it look like it's from a comic book or a graphic novel or something, the image itself, okay, it's nicely composed on the thirds. It's got great elements in it, but it doesn't have that thing that really kind of draws the viewer in. I think it'd probably be nice if there was a person in it standing somewhere. It would be like up here on the parapet or something like that. So I just wanted to show you, I took this picture and I was trying to find a way to make it interesting and to use it. And I went over here to Illustrator. So I did down here at the end. Okay, so I did portrait version. So portrait is vertical. And I think, and this, it's got space in it, but I think part of the problem is I don't have a specific focus area. And this tree just kind of blocks us, and we can't, that tree is just not fixable. So I can't rebuild that whole wall, that whole part. So I need to go back to China and take this picture again and hope that they've cut down a potentially 1,000-year-old tree. So no, it's at least 500 years old, but they're not going to cut down that tree. So I'm not going to work with it. And I looked at it and thought, okay, wait, let me look at it horizontally to see if that might work. And when I look, and this would be a great place to put some text and do various things, but there's just not anything magnetic about the image. So I wouldn't give myself a good grade, even though I've done some nice, I've done some nice filtering. I used the HDR, I added the stamp, I did some different things. I cut out a whole bunch of video. This actually, I spent a lot of time working on this. And even though I spent a lot of time, it doesn't work for the poster. So that's where I ended up with the poster. But where I want to take you back to for a minute is, let's go back to the Louvre, okay? And so this is the original Louvre. This is, I do Command 0 and then a Command minus, and I'm going to bring that back over to the middle. So the way you can do that is you hold the space bar down and you do Mr. Hand. I have a really nice mouse and I can just do it on the top of my magic mouse, but I put some text in here. And I brought this in the exact same way that we brought in, that I was showing you to bring in the other parts. And looking horizontally, the horizontal interests me. Okay, the horizontal interests me because I'm getting all this richness of color. That's from the original photo, but it's just kind of, it's not there. This vertical picture is more dynamic to me, is more interesting and more engaging to me. So I am going to close the horizontal because I'm not interested in working on it. And even though the original photo was horizontal, the vertical has more interest. I've actually composed it to where we're using the thirds a fair amount. I pulled the color out of the water and actually the museum itself to give it sort of a different vibe, but I still included the color behind it. And actually I took out these holes and different ones so that you could see the light behind it. And then there's a beautiful sunset. So we're going to work with that one, and I'm going to cut that out, and we'll look at a couple more examples. So I also, last year, I guess, yeah, no, it was early in 2020, went to Levi. And we went out into the desert, and here's the horizontal. I did use some cloning tools on this. And to me, this is quite beautiful. It's got the nice contrast. And I came up with some words. And once again, I put it in horizontally. I did the 1.41, so it's correctly done. Okay. And as I look at that, and then I did a vertical version, so I did a portrait version. And in fact, I did the 1.41, but if I shrink this down, so I'm going to remember that that's 450, but if I shrink it down and make sure the height is 420, okay, it will be at it. What? That's weird. Okay. So I go 420. I bring it down to 420. Now it fits exactly, and what I've done either way there is I've kept the proportions, and now I'm less bothered by it because I'm looking at it. But if I went to 450, you can see the lines, but I don't want to change, okay? Don't change the proper aspect ratio between the vertical and horizontal. This will result in an image that looks wrong. Okay. So if I went to 450, I kind of like this because it's a little less on the top. The one thing I was not getting fully clear, because I don't always use them, is to create some guides, and it for some reason, oh wait, let me see if that helps me. No, but I can see that the thirds are there, and I actually kind of like having this little dip in the sand up there, but I think I will go back to the 420 that fits. So I think the vertical, once again, is a more dynamic picture. And if you remember when I talked about composition, the vertical has more, it is more dynamic on its own. When you look at something that's a landscape, it's just kind of a landscape. And if I look at this, I'm expecting something more to happen or something like that. So I find this image a little more boring, so I am going to close it. So we're going to work in a minute on this one. Okay. So I've got this one ends up being vertical. So I'll save it. The Louvre ends up being vertical. Let me go to a third one I'm going to show you. And actually, this is one that ends up horizontal. And this is in New York. And so here's landscape of, that's 42nd Street. It's sunset on 42nd Street. And so this is one, okay, so this is one right there we can see. All right. If somebody was trying to talk to me, I missed it. Okay. And this is one that's fairly interesting. This is my photo as well. It's from, gosh, when's it from? Oh no, that's not telling me. Actually, I think it's from about 2005, 2007. Which strangely enough is a long time ago. But I love this picture. I could send you exactly to the place so you could try to take it again, but who knows if the sunset would ever work for you again. So here it is in horizontal. And if I show it to you vertically, okay, if we go vertically, so into portrait, it is actually pretty nice. I'm going to do Command 0, put it in the middle, then Command minus. And that is actually the background on my phone. Let me make sure. Yeah, that's the background on my phone. And okay, sorry, having some struggles getting on. And I find this image very dynamic, but there's something missing to it in it that I think I can take advantage of if I look at it horizontally. And that is these two windows right here, because as I thought about it and I thought what I wanted to say, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, but if you think about this incredible view down this street, now it's fairly centered because it's the way I shot it and it has the darkness on either side. We can mess with that a little bit. Let me look at the layers to see if I already have. Nope. Okay, wait, I have. Let me see what I've got. Okay, oh, okay, so that was actually looking for a border. But if I look at it, I like these two windows because for all the beauty that's happening out in front, these people that are at work, or if you're in that office in those windows, you have no idea the beautiful view that's behind you. And that helped me come up with a phrase for this poster, which is you don't know what you're missing. Because I do like sunsets, and obviously, I mean, even we look at my Louvre picture, the whole world can have beautiful sunsets. If the position of the sun is right, if the clouds are right, if the time of year is right. Because honestly, different time of year, the sun won't even be in that position. So you can't get that picture. So what I could do, keeping it proportionally the same. Now what I can do here, I want to keep this over here, but I want to see if I can get this line more over into this position on that right-hand third. So it's a big image, so it's not a problem. So on properties and transform, I can anchor this into the corner. So this is now anchored in this corner. And if I move it out, so let's go to 450. What happens is it's going to spread across. Okay? And so it's going to get larger and spread across. And I'll show you in a minute what happens. But let's just, I don't know why it only went to 440, but if we took it out to 500, whoops, not 5,000, that'll be crazy. Okay. Then this thing becomes larger, and because it's so centered, let me go into layers. Because it's so dark, it's hard for me to see some of these. Oh, there's the line. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little. Okay, so I want to see the edge of the image. And it's also, actually, when you zoom in, there's a lot of picture in here. I mean, you can see the people crossing. There's a guy with a bike down here. That's so very cool. And then you've got a McDonald's with the logo. That shows you the strength of that logo, but then the colors and the tying it in. But if I look, here's this bottom line. What I can do is take the rectangle tool. So I've grabbed the rectangle tool. There, I see the line exactly. All right, I'm going to make it, I'm going to give myself more view. And we can see how that picture will be reframed in the horizontal. Okay, so I can pull it across this way. I can pull it across, whoops, hello, cancel. I want to be on the arrow, which gives me this handle. I pull across the handle to here and pull down to here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I just want to pull the handle. There we go. So I cover up that part of the picture. And now, there it is. I believe there it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this rectangle. I'm going to do edit, copy. So I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to do edit, paste in front. So it's going to be exactly the same place. And just so you can see it, I'll go over here and change its color for a minute. Okay, so now you can see the difference between the two. I'm going to get rid of that garbage. Okay, so there it is. And now I'm going to grab this corner, and I'm pretty sure that's where it is. Let me zoom in to see. And this red's not too useful. And actually what I can do, I can go to layers. I can help myself out. I can turn this off, and I can turn this off. There you go. That is showing me exactly where that edge is. So I grab the corner, I come to that exact edge, which is right there. I go Command 0, and then we're going to go make it a little smaller. I'll bring it over. There it is. And if I okay, sorry, that's the other picture that was in front of it. So I'll go back I'll go back to layers. I'll turn the layer we're working with on again. And then I take this layer, I go to properties, I make it black. So now we have a sense of what the picture looks like. Honestly, it doesn't really help me at all. And I can copy this just to give it more regularity. I can copy it. I can put it up here. I can copy this one. So we can actually see exactly where that frame is. And we get a view, but you can see I've lost the cars, I've lost the interesting stuff in the foreground, all I've got is sky. So it's not helping my composition. So actually that enlargement doesn't help me in any way at all. I leave it anchored there. If I go, let's just see what happens. I go to 450. And just if we go back to 420, it's just a stronger composition, because I think these two cars in the front, the one coming toward us, the other one going away, really take us in and out and draw us into this part of the image. So it doesn't specifically follow the rules, but what I also get is I get these two lights up here. So this poster is going to have some potential in terms of horizontal. Okay, so we will come back to this one. So I'm going to take out the vertical, even though any other time I would say that has poster potential. Almost feel like in this context, if it did, well, we could keep it around. If it did have poster potential, I feel like it needs some a border. So this one could work with a border, and we could make it look a little Polaroid. So I go to properties, I recenter it again because I want it to come in. And so I'm going to take it down I'll go pretty far and say 380. So I've gone to 380. And now I've got a border. I could go back to the layers. I could give this layer, come back to properties. I could give it white. So now it sort of feels like a framed picture a little bit, okay? Or I could go back to the layer again. I could take this rectangle. Black really makes pictures pop more, and it's always better to put words over solid colors. So we could, in fact, go back to black. Now, there are some other, so there's black. There are some other interesting options. Actually, it really disappears in black. So what I want to show you is a very interesting thing. So I have that rectangle selected, okay? So I have the rectangle selected, and what I want to do is grab this eyedropper button. And what the eyedropper does is it grabs points of color that you click on. And in Illustrator, it will put into this rectangle any of these colors. So I will take the eyedropper tool. I think I will. Okay, I clicked on it. You can now see the eyedropper. So, hey, what if this outline, what if this frame was the color of these red lights? There's a lot of red lights on this side. So I could grab that color. It's not exactly the color I expected. It's a little more orange than I expected. Okay, but maybe that one's more red. Okay, that's a deeper red. Okay, so I can grab colors from within the image. I could take this headlight. Well, that's pretty close to white, so that's a pretty pure headlight. This one looks a little more, you could go with the blinker for it to be, okay. There's crazy colors all over in here. But maybe what we do is we enhance the sunset, which all this orange, and we grab one of these orange lines. Now, for my money, it's actually distracting from that. And even though my usual argument is for black, I actually think in this case, framing this image would work with white, because that gives it sort of, this is a picture, even if it's not the right shape and that sort of thing. So I'm gonna have to change some things here, but in terms of what I'm gonna say, but that's another aspect we have. So we're gonna keep that one. And I did also create, and I'm not gonna mess much more with them here. I'm gonna stick with New York, Liwa, and the Louvre. But I did some Beijing. So I did Tiananmen, and this is a vertical. So I was trying to go see what we could do with changing to the black arrow, seeing what I could do with multiple images. So there's even an idea there. Okay, and that's actually 3 pictures taken through flags. And gonna say something about primary colors, etc. It's not perfect, it's an experiment, but that shows you some things you could do. Once again, you could take this and change its color. You could make it white. Oh, that's horrible. You could make it, let's see, what color's not there? There's dark brown. Oh, yuck. Okay, purple. We could go shocking green. This is a case where, in my opinion, black works best. Okay, I took that picture. I also, I'll keep this one around. I took this picture, also did it horizontally, did landscape, and that's just pretty boring. So that's really not an interesting idea. Okay, and then I've got some other photos, and I thought about this one. This actually could be more fun in terms of photos. Let me get a, I did that other one, I did 150. So let me just see if I turn all these into 150 and I do 4 of them. I could go here. We'll take that one and we'll go 150. So you could do some different things. Scary Mao there, 150. I don't think they're all going to fit. And then I could go the back one, could go 150. Okay, time is ticking away. So if I go back to here and I get it in the middle and I go -1, pull it down, I can actually put this picture and I can go to align. So this has align is open right here, or I can open the align tool right there. I can align that with the top of this frame. I can then take this bottom picture. I can do sort of a weird thing to align it with the bottom of the frame. I go align it to the top, then I come back down to the bottom. Then I center all of these guys. Okay, so we're going to, and actually I'm going to center it on the back as well. I'm going to use left, right for alignment. So those are aligned. Ooh, that's not good. It moved, but I'll move them all back over so that it's covering. Then what I'm going to do here is go into layers. I'm even going to lock the background. There's a place here in layers where if you put a lock on it, then it won't move. Then I'm going to distribute these four so they're distributed evenly. So that's distribute objects. So now they're distributed. There's no space between them. So I'm going to go to properties and I'm going to try 125. Let's just see if that is useful. And that's actually has potential. I'm going to take that one. So X and Y are right here, so I can use the math. I am going to subtract 10 and go 69. So that takes it up. I think I'm going to subtract 20 and go 59. Okay, then I'm going to add 20 down here on the bottom. That means, sorry, that means Y goes to 357. And then I click on all four again. I'm actually liking this quite a bit. The pictures are more interesting than the other ones. I distribute them again. And now I've got the start of a pretty nice poster. And the phrase I have for this one is "he is watching." All right, I clearly don't completely have enough time. So what I'm gonna do here is we'll use this one maybe. And so I'm gonna save this then. So that's got a lot of picture in it. This could actually be fun. In fact, I could take the lock off and we could test something really quickly on this rectangle. We could look at it and see if something very Chinese might work. To turn it all red, no, don't like it. We could go very Chinese and make it yellow. Oh gosh. Orange, blue, those things don't really work. The black works. And because they're night photos, I think that also makes it work. So that's a very simple way to use multiple pictures. You might organize them, etc. So I'm gonna save that again. I'm gonna put this guy back. Okay, there's a horizontal one that would relate to that one. I'm pretty sure it won't be as interesting. Then I add this additional one that I set up. And okay, we'll close that as well. Okay, so we now have here a number of posters. Okay, and we've got compositional opportunities. Now, one of the things you need to have is a logo. And with using logos, I do in fact have for you, okay, and I can make it available if you want it. I have the Abu Dhabi logo. Now, I don't know specifically, I've just saved it in a version where the Abu Dhabi's white and the sort of original is with Abu Dhabi gray. So we can go Abu Dhabi, I'll just go with the Abu Dhabi gray and I'll just do edit copy. Then I can go to, okay, I'm gonna go to Liwa, which is in Abu Dhabi. And so, you know, the empty quarter, etc. I am going to just do edit paste. And so there it is. And that is really big. That is too big. It is not going to end up this big. But there, I've got the logo on the document. All right. And so I can manipulate from there and I'll be able to build it out. Then if we go to the Louvre, I already put in here the Louvre logo. I could also put in here, and some of the people did, I could put in the Abu Dhabi one, the second one. And actually, I'm very sure that this is, well, no, I don't have to be that very sure. So we can see what happened. The gray might work, okay? And we've got the Louvre, which being black, we're gonna have to choose carefully where we put it. So there, that has those. Then if we go to Tiananmen, actually what I found was a picture, and I grabbed this picture in Photoshop, and let me close that one, and I will close that one, that one, and that one. Okay, so what I did was let's see what I've got here. Okay, is I actually got from this photo, okay, these two Chinese characters that mean Beijing, so that's North Bay. Jing is capital, so it's northern capital. And this one's kind of cheesy because that's just the repeat, so I'm not going to use that part. But I took those two parts, I grabbed the characters, so it's a bitmap. Then when I bring it over to Illustrator, what I'm wanting to do is to change that into I want to change that into a vector so that we can change its size, we can mess with its color, we can do all sorts of things. So I create new, and the size of this file is really insignificant, but I'll just say new. And since we've been doing A3, we'll stay with A3. And then I do edit paste, okay? And it's actually pretty big. So it's very big in the middle there. And what you can see, if we look at layers, is that it's right here and it has this weird number on it. That is because it is a picture. What I want to do is I want to do an image trace. So it is selected, and there is up here in window is a thing called image trace. So I have opened image trace, okay? And I want to see a preview because there's a whole bunch of adjustments. It's just like filters in Photoshop. And part of the reason I chose this particular one is actually because it's a little bit messy. So that's going to work with tracing because the tracing is not always perfect. So I would say preview, and you can see there that those words in writing went away. That's a pretty good tracing. The characters are still intact. So I will now take the preview off and I will trace. Okay, so it is traced, but you can't see anything. And that is because you have to take one more step. And that is you go to object, you go to object, and you go expand. So this takes a function to its next level. So what we're going to do is expand it. So object, expand. I hope you're seeing that. And then you say exactly, and you expand it. And then what happens is this is now a group. And wow, it's a bunch of groups. And these are all the pieces of it. Okay, so now if I take the wide arrow, all right, because it's grouped, I want to leave it in a group. I click on the white, and because it's the white arrow, I've only selected that part. If I click there, it only clicks that part. If I click there, it only clicks that part. If I click there, it only clicks that part. Okay, so if I choose this white on the outside, it's going to select the white, but maybe you can see there's more pieces of white. If I just do this, let me use the rectangle tool again to show us. So I can put in the rectangle tool, I can give it a wild color. Okay, so we'll just make it that. Then I do object, whoops. I'll go to black, sorry, the black arrow. I'll go to object, arrange, send to the back. Now it's behind. But what you can see is, okay, there's still more white pieces. So you could get rid of those individually, okay? Or what you can do is you go back to the white arrow, you click on one of these. So since these are all filled, this is what you want it to be like, okay? Then you do select, and you do same, and you do same fill color. So that's the color inside. The only thing that's white on this whole thing is that, and if I select the same fill color, it chooses all of the white parts. Then I can hit the delete key, and that logo is now a group that is completely intact, that I can now manipulate however I want. I can make it 400 or something, and it doesn't pixelate. The edges are smooth. It's written with vectors. So now I can make it super large. I could make it pretty small, small-ish, and it still looks good. Okay, so that's showing you how tracing works. I've done a number of things here. And what I did was I took, this is actually from an old logo of mine. And I decided, since it was nonsensical and I'm building sort of my own logo for Beijing, that I would put my name next to it. So that's actually my Chinese name, Wai Luk Song. So that is there, and I've added it in. Chops like this traditionally are red with white. This is just a little trivia that if you ever see a Chinese painting or something, and it has lots of chops like this with 3 characters or 2 characters, only one of them is the artist. Actually, in China, the owner of a piece of art, the owner of a drawing or something graphic, will in fact chop it themselves when they own it. So things that are, 1,000 years old or 500 years old will have had a lot of different owners, and they put lots of chops on them. Okay, just a little history for you. Okay, so if I select that, all right, and I can check it in layers to make sure I've got it. Yep, I've got that whole layer. And I can do shift. I hold the shift key down and I select that. I do edit, copy, and then I come over to, all right, I come over to Tiananmen, and I don't like that one nearly as much. Let me go to, okay, I'm gonna deal with that one. So I'm actually gonna close Tiananmen number 1. I will save it. There it is. So, all right, so I now still have in the clipboard my logo I made. So now I have the logo, and that's pretty big and pretty clearly black is not going to show up on there. So I can even take this part. So I've just clicked on it, so it's selected. I can go to properties and I can make it white. This could potentially be yellow. But let's go with white for now. And then I take both of these together. Actually, I'm going to go to layers. I'll take the writing and then my signature. I'm then going to group them together. So object, group. So I'm going to group them, or Command G. So then now one group. I'll go back to properties. I'll make it smaller. Let me go to, let's just see what I get with 100. And now, I mean, I've got the start of how I can use it. It's still definitely too big. Okay. So I've got that one. I'll save that. Now I've got New York City. 2 images, New York City. And okay, I've got that one and that one. So what the heck, what logo would we possibly use? And I went online and I searched, and this it's a classic and it's a registered trademark, has been the logo of New York City for a long time, which is I Love New York. And whenever you see this for I Love something else, if you saw one that said I Love AD or anything else, sorry, it's actually breaking the law because this is copyrighted. Yeah, I downloaded it from a place called Logotype. I found it just by searching for the New York City logo, and this is it. And the great thing is I opened it in Illustrator and it is already a vector. So I can now take that image and I'll be able to do some manipulation with it because it's a vector. I can copy it, edit, copy. Then I can come back over to New York City. I can just start at this one. It's pretty big. I mean, you could potentially I could come up with some crazy use of it, but I can copy it there. And ultimately my goal is probably to turn those black letters to white letters. And so we can save that there. And then I can save that here. So, and I definitely know where that's going to end up, down here in the corner. And I could even sort of put it in the corner. I could anchor it on the other side. I could take it down. Let's just take it down to 30 and see what happens. Okay, that could be very nice. That's a nice size. I go over to layers. I take this top part of the layers. I switch those in properties to white. Okay, so already just by having that logo, it looks a little more professional and that sort of way, but I have other things I'm going to add. Now, the other thing I did, and this is what you're going to be doing now, as you head towards Sunday, you're going to show your draft. Okay, you're headed towards Sunday. And what I want you to do is I want you to collect together everything you're going to write. So let me zoom into this. Okay, so I came up with a phrase related to this based on those pictures, and it's going to determine where I place it. I'm calling it "You Don't Know What You're Missing." Okay, and I think I'll probably put that back in. And the way I wrote these things in, I actually went to the T. I can put in the T. Now, I cannot make another one of these lines. So these are all separate lines. I can't make, and you want them to be separate lines. Don't do return space and all that stuff. You want your lines so that you can align them and you can deal with them and those sorts of things. So I couldn't type more here. I need to go back up to the arrow, then come back to the text, and then click the text in again. Now it says lorem ipsum. That's actually made up words for you to do layout with, but that's why it's there. And then I could go New York City, And in the case, so what you're going to be doing in activity 8, and I'd like for you to do it by Friday, is I want to see a small version of what your poster is going to look like visually, but then I want you to tell me, okay, what's the line going to be? Okay, so this is sort of the slogan for the poster. This is a description of what's happening. Now, I've written I love New York. Quite frankly, that logo is in fact also a tagline. I love New York. So I'm really not going to put that in below it or anything else because it says it right there. Okay, and I can give you the link where I found it actually. Then I've done my 3 hashtags: Sunset, 42nd Street, Urban Excursion, and then the 1 Twitter handle, so at New York City, because what we're going to need to be doing and what I'm going to create a tutorial for is dealing with the fonts, dealing with these and being creative with them, because the step after this is placing them. Where do I put them? So what I'm hoping is that you will, for Sunday, be able to make some font selections. You'll be able to decide on color for your different phrases, but you're going to need those phrases first. So those will go with the New York one. It's going to have to change here. It says you don't know what you're missing, but I'm going to have to change it in this one because you can't see. I could still say it. Actually, I could still say it because that's pretty cool. And you probably never even thought of New York and a sunset. So, and in fact, this guy can go back down there in the corner. So it'll be pretty straightforward. When we go to Tiananmen, I'm going to put this in. I've got this one that I think is kind of funny, which is he is watching. That painting of Mao Zedong is actually very much like the Mona Lisa. You can't escape him because he watches you wherever. So that's just some different angles and trying to be a little fun. And then it's the forbidden, I'll change that to Tiananmen, which means the gate of heaven. And then I've created a slogan to go with this, and that is the heart of China, Beijing, the heart of China, or yeah, could be the head of China, but the heart of China sounds better. And then I've got hashtags Tiananmen, Forbidden City, Beijing night, and then at Forbidden City. So I've written those things down. I've got all the elements here. So I've got my picture, I've got my background color with each one of these, okay? I've got my starting points, and then I can go from here and I can start to be creative and positioning here. I've got 2 different logos. This is one, actually, I wrote it last year. I know you can't see it. Experience the art of a Saadiyat Island sunset, kind of giving you more information, but doing it in a way. And I've written Louvre Abu Dhabi. That is the Louvre's. Okay, I could also add, I could do, here once again, you can copy and paste. So I can do edit, copy, I can do edit, paste. All right, and then I grab the T and I could put in the Abu Dhabi one, which is your extraordinary story. Oh, that's one I didn't get. And then I've got okay, these ones I haven't changed yet. Those are from Liwa. So we've got in Abu Dhabi, it's going to be at Louvre Abu Dhabi. I would put in a hashtag architecture, because the guy who, Jean Nouvel, who created it, is a big prize winning guy. And then I could do a hashtag architecture and art in Abu Dhabi. So those hashtags would go together. And then if I go to, so that's Louvre Stand, that's the Louvre. And then if I go to Liwa, I actually came up with these. I like them a lot. All right, I do have a minute or two. So I've got the Abu Dhabi logo. I've got, click here and here. And because of the picture, I thought about just writing simple. And I may only use part of this, but it's like, when we think of sun and sand, we often think of sun, sand, and sea, the 3 S's in tourism. But I'm saying sun, sand, simple, because the image is beautiful and simple. And then I had bring your own water. So I kind of like it. It feels a little catchy to me. Then I've got the empty quarter. I've got your extraordinary story that goes with Abu Dhabi. And then for hashtags, I've got Star Wars, because Jakku, I thought about putting Jakku there. I thought of some different things. The movie Dune has scenes that are shot. So Arrakis is, actually, I could put Arrakis, but the planet Dune in the movie, and then in Abu Dhabi, and then at the empty quarter, because I don't know if the Western districts and the empty quarter have their own Twitter handle or anything. I could perhaps search for the, there is a version of this that I think says Al Garabia, but this is a very simple image, and that actually it's beauty. So I want to try not to mess with it too much, but then you're going to look at positioning. So what I'm going to do is, in that tutorial, I'm going to show you some things about fonts, get you thinking about it, so that you can arrive, and you will need to post your poster for presentation on Sunday. You'll need to post it inside the assignment of the draft poster, inside instructors' assessments. And then I will go through and I will try to make comments as fast as I can. With 20 people, I mean, I've got like 3 minutes, 4 minutes max. And you know that's hard for me. So I will make verbal comments so everybody can hear them as we look at the posters. But in the tutorial, I'll try to get you a little ahead. It's not a problem if some things aren't right yet. We can see how to work on that. It won't be due until a week later. So potentially, if there's still some issues, we will then spend a week from today fine-tuning things on your posters. So everybody should be able to do extremely well. But I will work on these 4 posters just to show you some things. If I really get deeply into one, or if it doesn't turn out to be all 4, but that's it. So that's what we're doing. I will create the tutorial. I'll tell you about it. You need to do activity 8 because you need to know about your words. You need to show me what your words are going to be. Hopefully you've got a logo. We could discuss that, but that's what's going on. So hopefully this will be useful. I will stop the tape. I will upload it as soon as I have it. And